Welcome, everybody, to the show. Joining me tonight is our co-host and fellow traveler, Dan the Dan Noodles Man, the hee-haw of Wargaming. I didn't come up with anything. Howdy Doody was actually what I brain cramped on. I wanted to use Howdy Doody.
But we were talking about what are we watching, this and this and that, and you said you watch YouTube. But you know what? There's algorithms on YouTube, so whatever you watch, that's what they give you. Like if you want to watch it, yeah, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? It's almost restrictive.
You can do that if you want, though. I mean, I usually work off my subscriptions page and watch videos from the people I'm already following. That's how I do it.
Yeah, but so. You click on one, panty commercial, and it's all over.
Sometimes it doesn't matter, Dan. That's not really happening anymore. I had Twitter serving me up ads for, let's say, ladies' adult equipment. So, and I was not sure why that happened. So, Mr. Mark Herman is here. Mark, thanks for stopping by.
Mark Herman's here.
Mark Herman is here.
Oh, my God, I didn't take a shower.
Oh, my God. You don't look like you took it. It looks like that hat could use a washer, too, as well.
I took a shower today. It's because I'm getting off COVID.
Well, that's a good idea. Have you been deloused yet? Speaking of which, we were talking about movies before the show. Have you seen Super Troopers?
Who?
Super Troopers.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a comedy movie that's very funny. I recommend it. Friends of mine all said it was terrible. I thought it was totally hilarious, but in any case.
Carl Kreider, asked me to watch a war movie. What was it called? It must be a comedy there with the cocaine guy. What's his name? For God's sakes, Ultraman.
The cocaine guy. I don't know what.
Yeah. Talking about. He went to jail.
The cocaine.
Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay. The cocaine guy. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever.
What war movie was he in? Unless you count Tropic Thunder.
Gross Point Blank.
That's not a war movie. I don't remember Robert Downey Jr. being in that, but I might be.
I'm just saying, Carl keeps busting my balls.
I think you're thinking of John Cusack. Actually, that is a pretty good movie. Don't get me wrong, but so John Cusack plays a hitman. And he goes back to he's like 35 years old. Goes to his high school reunion. And while he's there, Dan Aykroyd plays another hitman who is chasing after him to try to get him to join.
That's hilarious, just there.
It is funny. He's trying to get him. He's not back. He doesn't go to Grosse Pointe, Wisconsin, to kill him. He goes because he wants him to join the hitman's union. They're trying to unionize. It's hilarious.
It's got to be run by the Italians. That's for sure.
In any case, well, I don't think Dan Aykroyd is. Dan Aykroyd is actually Canadian, Dan.
I know that. So
I'm just saying. I know. I assume they have a class on famous Canadians in your high school program.
Yeah, that's how cute we are. We have a class on our famous Hollywood actors.
Yeah. So I figured we would talk about, and everybody that's here, feel free to chime in on this, what our favorite topics in wargaming are, excluding World War II, because everybody plays World War II games except for Gilbert Collins. And even he plays a few World War II games, just not the ones on the land.
So you're asking me a question?
Well, let's get this discussion started.
Well, you know what? My mentor, Stuka Joe, he's a mentor of mine.
Okay. You certainly a good. I mean, if you got to aspire to be somebody in YouTube wargaming, it's Stuka Joe.
That's what I say. And you can't go wrong with the classic. You can't go wrong with the fundamentals. And anyways, he doesn't like sci-fi games. And it always hurt me because I do like sci-fi games. Mm-hmm. So I love sci-fi war games.
Okay, good. There's a rich history of sci-fi war games, actually. We've kind of gotten a little bit away. I shouldn't put it that way. I will say that sci-fi conflict games have gotten away from war games. Let me put it that way. Nowadays, when we see sci-fi and fantasy games, what they tend to look like, with not that rare for sci-fi, but quite rare for fantasy, are the typical big box Ameritrash thing with tons of miniatures, and there's a Kickstarter that pulls in $2 million, and there's miniatures and terrain and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, no.
Dan, we got to get you to play Starfleet Battles. That's a good idea, actually.
Yes.
Do a how to play Starfleet Battles video. I know just the guy to help out with that, actually.
And I mean, there's even old sci-fi games. Like, look, I really enjoyed Time Tripper. Really,
clearly, you went and paid $200 for it, as I recall.
Who?
You, right?
Me?
Wasn't it expensive?
Yeah. Probably Carl gave it to me or something.
Well, that's possible because many of your titles were stolen from the library of Carl Parody.
As a matter of fact, my next title is actually a Carl game, and it's a mounted board that he mounted, and he doubled up on the chits.
Yeah. We talked to Carl about that. I think that's... I feel like for most games, the chits are thick enough on their own. But then again, I'm a tweezer guy, so I got a little different standard than most people.
It was the creature that ate Sheboygan.
That's a classic.
Stupid games are stupid.
They're a classic.
Stupid. I love them because
even
of
that is not the kind of game that pops up inside the wargaming space anymore. Look at King of Tokyo. That's basically the same premise, right? It's a game with a big board and a fancy box and big monster miniature or something.
And it's fun, King of Tokyo, but it doesn't have the old man nostalgic feeling that I am.
Mm-hmm. Age of Sail is a good one, actually. It wasn't one that was necessarily out, and it covers like a bunch of different periods, right? You could talk about Age of Sail in the American Revolution, or the War of 1812, or the Napoleonic Wars, and a bunch of other conflicts besides that. So it covers kind of a lot if you call that a topic, and I tend to call that a topic. I've got about 5 Age of Sail games, I think.
And they're all Mike Nagel games?
No, actually, I'm wrong. I've got, I think, 8 Age of Sail games, and 4 of them are by 3 or 4 of them are by Mike Nagel. So, my big non-World War II topics tend to be Civil War and Napoleonics nowadays, but I also do like Ancients, and I like World War I a lot as well. I think World War I is a topic that, thanks to Ted, we've seen a lot of games on in the last 15 years or so, where before everybody was kind of ruined on it because of what a slog games like 1914 and maybe Guns of August were, right? Which are, the good games, classics, but not necessarily a hoot to play.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, okay. Well,
thank you, John Stanley, for the support, by the way. No, this like just came out literally last week. So have you got it, Dan?
No.
But stay tuned on this because chances of us talking to Mr. David Thompson, at least the co-designer, if not the designer, are very high in the next couple of weeks. So,
that's the beauty with a system, and a system like that, you can do it at any era, whatever.
Yeah, but potentially, yeah. There are games that run into problems with that, trying to adapt a system that doesn't exactly fit too literally, right? I can point out a couple of OCS games, for example, that might have been better had they used something else, or at least had made more modifications to the base system. That is a complaint I see pretty frequently about coin, about fitting the coin structure into topics that it doesn't really fit for.
You mean like Root?
No, I'm not talking about Root. Root is not a coin game. It is coin adjacent. It's a lot like coin in a lot of ways, but it's not an actual coin game. I've got Knock Paris from VUCA on the way, so I got it.
And what about a Jest of Robin Hood?
It's gorgeous. I took pictures of it at WWC. It was on a number of tables, and it is already sold out, so it sold out very quickly. So...
someone asked me about my pipe, Molotov cocktail. No, actually, it's not a Peterson. It's a freehand B-Jarn pipe that I think I paid like $40 Canadian.
So practically free.
Years ago.
Came with a free bowl of soup.
I'm telling you, it's actually a find and a half because the grain is just gorgeous.
So there's a place in Columbus. I forget what the brand name on their pipes are, but they make their own pipes in-house.
Boswell?
No, I don't think that's it. The name I know the name of the store is called Pipes and Pleasures. It's on Broad Street in
Pipes and
Whitehall.
Pleasures.
Yeah,
Holy
but
moly.
they had their own line of pipes that they made in house for the longest time.
Is that like Coke and hookers? Pipes and
No,
Pleasures.
it's nothing like that. It's not that kind
Okay.
of place, Dan. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. I will agree with Vince Ree on this. I feel like there's some SCS games that work really, really well, and other SCS games that I didn't think worked as well. I've heard good things about the World War I SCS games, and in fact, On to Paris or whatever the 1914 game is, I'd actually like to check that out. But I tend not to see it for the price I want to pay. I've heard Root's good. I eventually will pick up the digital version and fiddle with it, because it's cheaper than buying the physical game. Wooden Ships and Iron Menace, of course, an all-time classic as well. Drive on Paris. There we go. Thank you, Vince Ree, on that. I thought there was, but it may have been like an S&T game or something like that. So, this might be right. I don't know. I don't know much about this topic, to be completely honest. But it's yeah. I'm willing in principle to try something like Root or Wingspan or something like that. I actually got the digital version of Wingspan. It was like $5. I still haven't touched it.
That's from Carl Kreider. What the hell does he know about games?
Well, he knows quite a bit about games because he is the maestro behind the Wargame boot camp, isn't he? So anyway, Dan, you actually playing anything nowadays or what?
Actually, I was thinking today of picking up or replaying because my wife is actually that's why I'm smoking a pipe in the house, because my wife is not here for a week. You know what I'm
there
saying?
you go.
Because I know the smoke dissipates. I got all the windows open.
It really
So what's
doesn't.
the problem? Anyway,
Does your wife smoke?
no,
She's gonna smell it when she gets home, and
she ain't gonna smell squat.
You're gonna get yelled at.
Okay, probably. What was I gonna say? What did you ask me?
What did I ask you? I don't remember.
Are you serious or what? I had a perfect answer for it.
I don't remember. What are you playing right now? Was the
Oh,
last thing I asked you.
that's right. What am I playing? I was thinking of picking up Warfighter again by DVG. I
Yeah.
want to be mindless right now. Mindless.
Is Warfighter? You know what? The only Warfighter I've got. Thank you, John Longshore. And the only Warfighter game I've looked at is the fantasy one, and it's got like a 160-page rule book. Man, it does not look like a light, easy game to me. Maybe the one of the other ones is a little less,
No,
but
the Warfighter, the World War II, this and this and that don't have a 160-page rule book.
all right. Well, that's good because I felt like he's like, geez, this is an awful lot of rules for what this
And
is.
you know what? I want to play my first Mark Simonich game. I want to play it, and it's Sicily.
I'm
there's
appalled.
A 500.
Yeah,
what's
that's
it
not
called?
Sicily. It's Italy 43. It's like the section. It's that Gustav line game. It's the section north of Salerno 43.
Yeah. I gotta play a Mike.
Salerno's
Simonich.
great. Salerno's great. I don't consider Twilight Imperium to be a 4X game, to be honest. I think it's only a 3X game. There's no real exploration in it, and at least as of the last edition I played, which was the 3rd edition, I think. So, in any case, Captain Black.
Don't.
Hey,
move
if it works for you, be my guest.
You know what? And you know what? That's fine. I'm sorry. I actually did because I used to smoke Captain Black, and the thing is that Captain Black basically, if you like it, that's fine. That's fine. But
Sure.
it's candy. It's candy. But all tobacco is candy if you think about it. Right now, I'm smoking a Savinelli Brunello. It's amazing.
I don't know what that means. You realize
It's
I don't know.
Italian wine.
Carl and Medi are the only people here that know what that means. I don't know what that means. So, okay. So this makes sense. But I haven't really looked at the expansions. I've heard that TI4 is really good, and I liked the previous. I played editions 1, 2, and 3 of Twilight Imperium. I think it's a terrific game. It takes kind of a while to play, and I only get to play it every 5 years or so.
A year to play all of that.
Nah, it's not. It takes about 8 hours to play. About 2 hours to set it up, and then about 8 hours to play it.
It's a full-time job.
Well, some people like a full-bodied experience. You know what I'm saying?
Go get a massage.
I guess that's true, but we don't. This isn't Canada down here, Dan. We don't have that kind of massage parlor.
You know what? I was going to say something,
and
but
in Ohio, you don't want to go to that kind of massage parlor, if you know what I mean. You end up, you walk out with something that you didn't come in with, if you know what I mean.
You know, the massage, it's whatever.
I mean, this was why I was taken aback by this, because Mark Simonich
I don't have a Wargaming license. I'm a cheerleader.
Do you have Salerno? Do you have Salerno 43?
No.
That's highly recommended. It's pretty, not very small, but it's pretty small. It's quick to play. An experienced player could play it in 2 hours, no problem. So
okay, you know what? It's been a while, and I want to play a Richard Berg game.
There you go.
Simonich and a Richard Berg. And the thing is that the reason
every wargamer should have those experiences.
I want to play June '66. Richard Berg.
June 6th is the name of the game. Yeah. I've had that pass through my hands twice, and I've dumped it both times. I have friends who really like it. I can tell you that. It's not overdone too much either. I mean, sometimes Berg tended to overdo it a little bit. Not really in that game, in my opinion. Salerno, Drew Crenwell says that Salerno is a perfect entry point to that family of games, and I agree. It's not really simpler, but none of them are complicated particularly. They're all kind of mid-level complexity, and that's the smallest one and the one that takes the least time to play.
And it's funny, I tried to have Mark Simonich on, and he's not comfortable in a live setting.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm not going to criticize that. Some people just
I'm just saying,
aren't comfy talking live. You know, you put a camera in front of them. When I did the show a couple years ago at Winterfest, and I brought like every random buddy of mine and had them sit down for like 2 minutes and talk to them, a bunch of those guys who are very what's the word I'm looking for? Outgoing and extroverted, and you set them in front of a camera and they're like. They just like clam up and answer everything with yes or no.
Bloody hell.
Or a silence. It was hilarious.
You know, Ardy, why are you comfortable in front of a camera?
Because I am a narcissist. That's why.
Shit.
You got to be more narcissistic, Dan. That's the key to success in this business.
But the thing is that...
and success brings you literally tens of dollars.
But remove the narcissist from the artist. What do you have?
Some people are happy to be out in front of people, and some people just aren't comfortable with that. I get that. I'm not really comfortable with it either. Deep down, I'm just pretty good at faking it. That's all. Titan's another one that takes 6 days. Yeah, you could probably finish it in 4 if you're lucky. But if you're lucky, it's a good game though. Talisman. Ugh. I haven't played Talisman since the 1st or 2nd edition.
I haven't.
Maybe it's better now. I strongly dislike Talisman. The problem with Talisman is it's fun for an hour, but it takes 7 hours to play. And the hours 2 through 7 suck. So I just do not like Talisman. Now, again, maybe more recent editions of it have fixed this problem. That's plausible, and I would have if I was in charge. But I'm not a big fan. So this is fair too.
Well, what is that?
What's that?
In conjunction to what?
If you're dead inside and you just don't care anymore, but by being in front of a camera.
No.
Kilroy is here.
What does he want?
Robert, thanks for stopping by. We got to have Robert back on the show, too, at some point, by the way. Early medieval, do you want tactical, strategic, operational? Because Men of Iron is where I would go for medieval tactical, frankly. There's also Commands and Colors medieval, which is fine, but I think I personally prefer Men of Iron.
So,
and that's not to say...
Ooh,
that's a Richard Berg game, Dan.
Men of Iron.
That's what you should play. That's very easy to play. You should totally play that.
I thought you were saying Tide of Iron. I go, what
Tide, I've never really looked at Tide of Iron.
That's no good. I mean, you got 1,000 dice.
Well, you
For
got dice
God's
and
sake.
you got tiny little miniatures, and as you know, I
And
can't
they
touch
bust and
miniatures.
all that. Get the hell
The
away
doctor
from
says
me.
I can't touch any miniatures, or my legs will fall off. So I could tell you there were 4 expansions of the version. I think of the version of Talisman I played back in the 80s. I would guess something like that. Who knows? I don't even care. There's not a lot of good medieval like strategic games. There is one. The big one is Empires of the Middle Ages, but that's very much a multiplayer game. But you might have trouble getting it going for a strategic level. For operational level, there's almost nothing. There's almost nothing. There's Levy and Campaign, which is point to point with blocks and stuff. But it's operational medieval. And there's the Italian Wars series from Europa Simulazione in Italy. I just picked up El Gran Capitan, well, like several months ago at this point. And that looks very impressive.
That all has a Volco ring to it.
Well, Levy Campaign is Volco thing. So,
What else? I mean, yeah. So he took on the Italians and he conquered.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you're interested in that particular topic, you could go look at Inferno as well from Levy and Campaign. But you know, I like hex and counter stuff, so I grabbed El Gran Capitan, and if I like it, well, it just depends.
Who designed Inferno?
The Inferno is late medieval. Plantagenet is late medieval, but Nevsky's not that late. It's like 12 something, as I recall. Quick 7-player game that we'll be playing for the next 2 or 3 years. So there you go, Dan. Empires in Arms is what I'm taking it as.
I thought it was like doing the vowels.
The ba.
A-I-O-U.
CNC Medieval is so the expansion's coming. I'm not sure what's in the expansion because it's not called anything. It's called the Commands and Colors Medieval Expansion. But the core box is all like Byzantine. We talked about this last night, actually. It's all like Byzantine stuff, and I think it is mostly fairly early Byzantine stuff, but I might be wrong about that. Since the... Oh, yeah, good point. More of it is... Seljuk is going to be 11th century. I actually thought that Almoravid was 15th century. I might be wrong about that.
That's vocal too, huh?
Almoravid is. Seljuk is just a guard. These are both Levy and Campaign titles. Oh, this is a good point. Yeah, there is a game called Carolinian Twilight. Well, that I'm thinking of off the top of my head on this topic. And I'm also interested in medieval, but there's not that much medieval stuff, right? There's not nothing, but there's not like anything that's like super popular and that gets a lot of exposure. There's a game from S&T from 2 or 3 years ago called Carolinian Twilight. That's about the crumbling of Charlemagne's empire. I've actually got that, and it looks very interesting. HUN644 News says Almoravid is 1085. It is Reconquista, but that went on for a couple hundred years. So, ooh, Kingmaker. Good call. That new edition of Kingmaker is fairly impressive. I can tell you that.
And Stigler's in the house, man.
Yeah, he's been here since the beginning. Hammer of the Scots is supposed to be good. That's going to be 12 for 1300s, something like that. It's I've actually never played it, but I'm pretty sure it's that War of Independence that Scotland fought against the English with Robert the Bruce. What's that?
Plantagenet, isn't that to have something to do with the English Civil War?
That's the War of the Roses, which is an English Civil War, but not the English Civil War. I'm aware that it's confusing. This is true, but it's a bit out of scope for us. Believe it or not. I personally put 200 hours into this, so I don't know. And there's Pendragon, which is pretty early medieval. That's a good point, Dave Kennewell. Thank you. That's
Pendragon.
That's Morgan's game, okay. And it's a coin game. It's terrific. It's depends on when you ask me, but it's one of the games I usually think of as one of my favorite coin games. Although Fire in the Lake is really good. So
you have to say that because Mark Herman's on the show.
No, I've said that before. I'm on record of saying I like it, but
listen,
878 Vikings is from Academy. This is I haven't played this. Vikings are cool. They have hats with big horns on them, but and I'm aware that's not historical, so nobody lecture me about that. But I've played the 1775 game in this series, but I haven't played the Vikings game. So yeah, this makes sense. Edward II, Edward III.
Bloody hell.
Not a lot on this. We're about to have a couple of games out in the same 2-year period about the Hussite Wars and wherever that happened. There's one that just came out relatively recently from Against the Odds, and then there's another one, Zizka, that GMT's got coming, also Levy and Campaign. So there's lots of... somebody mentioned up thread here that the Commands and Colors Medieval expansion is Crusade stuff, which is cool. So, see, this is why you got to keep your cool here, Dan.
Yeah, you relax, Mark. You relax, okay? I know where you live.
Spare Rib, welcome back to the show. Edge of the Sword from Vivictus. I haven't really looked... honestly, I haven't really looked closely at any Vivictus games because they're quite hard to find over here. But Noble Knight has them, so there's that. Ryan Huard, thanks for stopping by. So, I've got this. I honestly haven't even looked at it, to be honest. I've got Honor Christian Soldiers, which is Richard Berg's sort of magnum opus on the Crusades. I like that game a lot, actually.
You know something? Mike Bertuccelli, that name, it's consonantly difficult, but in Italian, it rolls off the tongue like Art Lupanacci, Mike Bertuccelli.
I'm admittedly 48% Italian, and maybe that's why I have no problem with Mike Bertuccelli's name.
It's beautiful.
So,
it's like a smooth sauce.
Yeah. Not Johnny Boy, not off the top of my head. I agree with this. I agree with this completely. Where is it? It's here somewhere. I might have moved the box, actually. This game is absolutely stunningly gorgeous, by the way. This Fornovo game from Compass.
And how old is this game?
8 years, 10 years, something like that. Okay. It's not incredibly ancient, but it's relatively early Compass games.
Who's the designer?
I don't know, but it's one of the people that does a lot of the graphic stuff for Compass now, and I think
you got it right behind you, don't you?
So yeah, yeah. Good luck with this. I mean, Godspeed, but I wouldn't count on this getting reprinted anytime soon. So, Arab-Israeli war is... I've only got 2 games on this topic. One of which... I've heard good things about... crap. What was that game from... the old game from GDW and Conflict Games that Compass redid a couple years ago. But I've got Valley of Tears, Carl's new game, BCS game. Plus, I've got October War, of course. So... Brian J. Miller, there we go. Barlev, thank you, Johnny Boy. Much appreciated. That's the game from I think it was originally from Conflict Games, and then, like everything else from Conflict Games, it moved over to GDW, and then I'm not sure who the designer on Barlev was. That'd be interesting to check.
Hey, Ardy, you're more savvy historian than I am, which I'm not. And the thing with the Arab-Israeli war, the war where Syria, Saudi Arabia and Egypt attacked Israel, the 6-day war or something like that. Like, was that just luck, or was it really serious, wicked tactical planning? Am I mistaken?
Well, it's the Israelis were... I mean, if you're asking why it worked out the way it did, it's because the Israelis were just better. More or less at the tactical, strategic, and operational levels. He had better trained troops. He had better equipment. But the Egyptians had some halfway decent equipment. They had Soviet stuff. The Syrians had some decent equipment, and it didn't work out for them. So, and there's multiple Arab-Israeli wars too. Remember, as you know. Yeah. So, I think only one I have games on is the 1973 Yom Kippur War. Yom Kippur War.
The 6-day war, right?
Yeah. No, I think the 6-day war was one of the earlier ones. Because the Yom Kippur War lasted a little longer than that. That lasted for several weeks, as I recall.
Okay, because I wanted to ask you, was it how stupid can an ally of 3 Arab countries against one Israeli country fail in 6 days?
So I'm going to give you as a counterexample, Fortress America. Okay. Where it's the United States versus everybody. And if you want to take Invasion America, or you want to take even Objective Moscow, it's the same type of thing. It's a big, powerful country. I mean, all things considered, in the area against a coalition of weaker countries. So, but the weaker countries were the aggressors in both cases. So Chris Fawcett was the designer of Barlev, by the way, and the 6-Day War was in 1967, not 1973. So. And I don't know, the only reason I know anything about the 1973 war is because I have Valley of Tears and have looked at it. I know nothing about the 67 conflict at all, other than that there was a conflict and it happened. So, oh, there you go. Oh, that'd be interesting. This is actually an interesting looking game, SPI Sign. I don't know if it's any good or not, but if you're going to get any game on this topic right now, at least the 73 war. I mean, the one I'll recommend is Valley of Tears, but that's on the strength of the system and on the strength of the designer, because I know the kind of research that Carl Fung does, and it's top tier. So in any case, but yeah, Conflict Games was basically John Hill, and I don't know what the actual legal term for what happened is, but they were essentially absorbed by or bought by GDW. So, but that's an interesting topic. That's generally been somewhat given the impact, somewhat popular topic in wargaming. So, and it's one I've always stayed away from, and I kind of stumbled across October War, and there's no reason for me to get rid of it. But it's supposed to be pretty good. But Valley of Tears is the one I'm actually probably going to play next, if anything. So, in any case, Henry Mike says SPI Sinai is decent. What's that, Dan?
I've got so many historical questions to ask.
Well,
and the thing is, I mean,
I might not know, but
is like a guy like Mark Herman. Okay, so he does a conflict simulation game, and he's really close to wicked tactics that an army, a navy, an air force would like. How does he come to that? I mean, I'm
guessing it's one of the factors is many years of experience doing this kind of thing, right? Doing the research, doing the game design, analyzing mechanics, all that stuff. So, as T-Man says, there is some video on YouTube on these topics.
I'm gonna check it out.
So there you go. Yeah, it's not a topic I'm terribly experienced with. There's also that sort of middle gunpowder period. This is a completely bullshit name for it, but there's those 18th century conflicts like the War of the Spanish Succession, the War of the Austrian Succession, the 7 Years' War. We haven't traditionally seen tons of games on those topics. Those conflicts are all fairly interesting, however. Depending on the scale that the game might be at, they might not necessarily be interesting at every single scale. But there's Frederick the Great alone has gotten a lot of mileage out of him for wargaming. So this is the Lace Wars. I've heard the term. I'm not connecting it to anything right now. Research is obviously critical, I think. Perfidious Albion talked about the old Avalon Hill Arab-Israeli Wars, which is, I believe, an extension of the Panzer Blitz system. So, but
Ardy, I don't know if this is in conjunction to the Mark Herman question I was asking. Not that it was a question. It's like the research ain't out there. How does he know?
Well, a lot of times the research is out there. You just have to find it. But the real skill in so much. I mean, I learned this in IT. The real skill is not just knowing everything off the top of your head. It's knowing how to find the information that you need, right? That is the skill we're talking about here. Not everybody's going to be an expert off just... A few designers are probably so lucky as to design a war game about a topic that they are already experts in, right? They're going to have to do some research, do some legwork to learn about the topic, and then they will design a game about it, right? Odd situations like Pacific War aside, where Mark redesigned it after however many years that was, 40 years, so or close to it.
I give him kudos for that, because I wouldn't want to revisit a work of mine that huge and
Mm-hmm.
do it again. It's like, no, sorry, it's been done. Kiss my hiney.
Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of games about the board. There's a decent number of games about this general topic of colonial wars against Africans, but not a ton, and not much on the Boer War. There's a few games about it. Couldn't name one off the top of my head. Oh yeah, okay. This is where I heard this. Red Sash Games. I'm not sure where they're located, but they're I don't know if I'd call them monster games, but they're big, substantial games, and they print on demand through Blue Panther. So they're quite expensive for that kind of thing. There's not like, you get typical Blue Panther. This has nothing to do with Blue Panther. This is the publishers who publish through them. Typically, it's a map and a counter sheet or half a counter sheet, right? Where the Lace Wars games from Red Sash will have like 4 maps and like 8 counter sheets, that kind of thing. They're fairly impressive looking, actually. So, Red Sash Games is one of those companies I would like to investigate more closely, but I have not done so at this point.
Blue Panther, they're not a print on demand anymore, man. They've got a lot of work, don't they?
Well, yeah, but their work is print on demand, right? I mean, the whole point of print on demand is I go to Hollandspiel's website and I order, Wars of Marcus Aurelius. And the order goes to Blue Panther. Blue Panther prints it on the spot, unless they happen to have some in stock. And they do have some small amount of inventory that they keep on hand, but not everything. So how it will typically work is Hollandspiel never touches the components. Generally, I think there's been a couple of exceptions here. Now, I wish we had Amabel back on to talk about this. But the game ships from a couple days past, they put it together, and Blue Panther ships it, right? So Hollandspiel, whoever, White Dog, whoever it is, doesn't have anything to do with that. So
right.
This is from Legion, as I recall. Epic History TV is a fabulous YouTube channel, by the way. Their Napoleonic stuff is outstanding.
Yes!
So there are games on this. There's a game called The Great Game. That's what it's called. It's about this great game between Russia and England and Afghanistan, that Central Asia type of things. This is also the topic of PAX Pamir, as I recall, which I've played. So,
PAX Pamir, is that like peace cheese? Pamir?
No, it's I don't even know what it translates. Pax means peace, but I don't know what Pamir means. But it's the great game between the British and the Russians in Afghanistan.
Sorry, I thought you said paneer, cheese.
Paneer. No, that's cheese. You got to excuse Dan. He's part French, so he's always thinking of cheese.
Wow, the world revolves around languages. You know what I'm saying?
It's a very clever game. I will absolutely say that, and I'd play it again. I didn't go buy it, but I'll play it again. I'd like to try John Company as well. So,
is it? Is it really?
Pamir is a region of India? I don't know, but
that what a coincidence, because paneer is Indian style ricotta cheese, whatever.
Yeah, more or less. Wikipedia says it is a mountain range in Tajikistan.
It's full of goats.
Paneer with ends is that fresh cheese that the Indians make, which is very good. I like it. So
that mountain is full of goats and happy men.
I like cheese. So just like Scotland. So
Scotland.
Yes, where the sheep and goats and happy men.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Right, and I'm a quarter Scottish, so you're not allowed to make fun of the Scots. I am allowed to make fun of the Scots.
Oh, that's why you got a big head.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, one of these days this will never actually happen because it's a pain in the ass. But I can threaten to wear my kilt onto the show at some point.
You should.
This is not some kind of bullshit utility kilt, by the way. This is the Scottish great kilt. That's 9 yards of wool, and you don't wear underwear under it.
Ardy, how muscular are your calves? Are you like this massive muscular calf?
My legs are pretty big and very, very, very pasty.
Hey man, wear the kilt.
Hey, I saw at least 2 guys walking around in kilts at WBC, but those were utility kilts, and I will admit that I do have a utility kilt, but I have worn it, I think, twice.
You wear a kilt, I'll wear a toga.
No way. You don't want me to sing either. I threatened. We have a talent show at work tomorrow. I have threatened my coworkers with my Shatner-esque singing voice.
I'd hate to be you.
Yeah, I believe if I actually sing, they will call HR. I'm pretty sure.
Like, I mean, you actually work in a company where they have all the fuzzy wuzzies and the company this and everybody loves everybody. Is that?
I don't know about that. I mean, I've worked for a company. So Falklands War is another good topic, actually. That there's not a ton of games on, but there are some. I used to work. So have you ever seen the duct tape? Not duct with a T tape. The duct tape with the little duck logo on it.
Yes,
Okay, the company that makes that is called Manco, and they are based in the town I grew up in Ohio. And I worked for them for 89 days because on 90 days they had to hire you, and on day 89 they got rid of me. Even though I literally worked so hard that I lost 20 pounds in 89 days. But if you were like an actual employee, they had like a lunch thing where once a week they would have this like lunchtime pep rally in the cafeteria, and they would sing the company songs.
Okay, shoot me in the mouth.
It was weird. Let me tell you.
No way. Amazon is like that.
It was weird. I don't know if Amazon has company songs or not.
I worked at Amazon for 5 months, and I'm telling you, every goddamn day, every shift, there was a pep, yay! And I couldn't believe these old bats next to me. I'm an old bat, too. And they're all like, yay! And I said, well, you don't have a life? Get the hell away from me.
I thought Amazon would, if you work for Amazon, you'd have like poop on the boss's desk day or something like that.
You know, I hate to say that, but if you don't have a high education, go work for Amazon. You got insurance up the wazoo day number 1. Sure, they pay $20 an hour. Yeah, but if you don't have an education, $20 an hour, they say, and I think it's crap, is good.
Okay. It's not really a livable wage anymore. A livable wage is closer to 22 an hour.
Ah, man.
To be honest.
But I mean, you don't have to pay for squat ski in insurance. You get your teeth bashed out by a machine at Amazon. Paf! They'll replace your teeth.
Yeah, but man, you gotta you gotta like pee on the floor because they won't let you go to the bathroom.
No, that's bullshit.
They got people peeing in water bottles and stuff. I don't know. That's just what we hear down here in Ohio.
Bullshit.
I don't know anything about that.
You know, you walk into Amazon, and as soon as you walk into the door, they have your temperature, how high you are, how much you weigh. What's left in your colon that you didn't expel that morning.
Is that why you don't work for Amazon anymore? Because they got a test to tell you how high you are?
Well, but they'll know that. That's for sure. It's the most high-tech, wicked place to work for low wages. Go, do it.
I'm good. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate the advice, but
thank you.
We're okay over here. I don't need to do that.
Thank you.
So... the amount of yard cleanup I've got to deal with over here is going to keep me in exercise for the rest of the summer at least.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's your land.
Yeah, that's great. But I need. I actually talked to a landscaper today, and we're probably going to get somebody out. I should take
a landscaper. What are you, full of money or what?
I cannot get rid of pieces of tree trunk that are 3.5 feet in diameter. I can't deal with that. So I'm not talking about the stump. I'm talking about like 3-foot diameter logs just laying all over the place.
Yeah, no,
so I can't deal with that.
You're gonna pay through your nose.
Well, I might, but we'll see what they say.
For me to fell a tree, it's $1,000 a tree. A tree.
Oh yeah, no, that's not even weird. You might not know about the story here, Dan. I told the story last night on the show. So when we bought the house, there were 10 oak trees on the side of the running from the front of the property to kind of just behind the house, right?
That's nice.
Well, if they weren't all dead, it would have been great, but they were all dead, and at least 7 of these were in danger of falling on the house. So I called the tree service, whatever the National Tree Service is called. I can never remember the name of these people. They quoted me like $12,500 to take out these 10 trees. Now, it's a big job, right? Because they got to bring cranes and shit in like that. So what I did instead was the back neighbor, back here, put me in touch with an Amish sawmill.
Wonderful.
They came and took the trees.
Yes, of course.
Now, they left a huge mess, but the cleaning the mess up's not going to cost me $12,500, right? Yeah.
US.
So it's not going to cost me $200 either, but I could practice the caber toss. Actually, there's ample lumber for this. So
we have 20 minutes from our house a county called Glengarry or Glengarry.
Is that where Glengarry Glen Ross was set?
Yeah. And anyways,
this is a good price, by the way.
They have the biggest Highland Games in all of North America, and it just happened last week.
Oh, okay. Did you go?
No, but I remember seeing a Highland Game in Truro, Nova Scotia, and I don't think I've ever seen such big men in my life gathered together.
It's too easy. I'm not going to say it.
Now,
I'm sure it was a delightful occasion.
And you have to, and here I go. I'm going to continue with it. And you have to flip a pole.
That's the caber toss.
Pole. Yeah, telephone pole. Yeah, just flip it over. Flip it over. It's a telephone pole.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tree.
Well, yeah, it's a telephone pole. You're basically
a tree.
Correct.
You know what they do? The guy stands there, and there's 2 people or 3 people come with the telephone pole trying to balance it and give it to the guy. As soon as they would give it to me, it would rip my fingers right out and probably go through my stomach and hit my toes.
I have no idea what those weigh. I assume they're obscenely heavy.
It's the unbalanced thing.
But are you going to be on the Canadian breakdancing team in the next Olympics, by the way, Dan? I was wondering about that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they had breakdancing this year. It's all over the news. I'm amazed you managed to miss this.
It's gone stupid. Yeah, of course I managed to miss it. Thank God you mentioned it.
There's all kinds of super. I mean, we're living in the age of where if something slightly weird happens, it's going to get blown out of proportion on the internet. And we had a whole pile of that happen in the Olympics this year. Like that guy, the French pole vaulter who went over to the pole and caught the pole on his you-know-what and knocked the pole off. So I assume that after that, he was very popular in the Olympic Village. There's been several other things that were great. There's the American sprinter.
Simone Biles. What's her name?
Simone
the
Biles,
black gymnast.
Yeah,
man, she's phenomenal.
Well, she's like the greatest gymnast that ever lived. I mean, as far as I can tell. The fact that she's like 4'10" is probably a factor in her favor, but there's a hilarious picture of her standing next to Shaq, by the way, which is just an amazing picture. Who is like 7.5 feet tall. So
when does she reach him? Like
the Turkish guy. The Turkish guy who was just sitting there with his hand in his pocket.
I love that guy.
So
but you know what? To be fair, I enjoy pellet guns and all that, and I watch YouTube pellet guns. And there's a guy called Kentucky Ballistics. He's hilarious, okay? But it's not pellet guns. And he's talked about that guy with his hand in his pocket, and he says, man, 90% of Americans do that every single day. And he put his hand, I swear to God, he put his hand in his pocket, took a 45 and went bang, 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 dead on.
Well, probably. But they are air guns that they use in at least with that particular Olympic event. I don't know really very much about it, to be fair. You should find that guy on YouTube that makes guns that shoot chainsaws. That would be cool. If you think I'm making that up, you are mistaken, by the way.
Is it the German guy, Sven or something?
Oh, it might be the German guy. Yeah, I don't know if he's German or somewhere Eastern European, something like that. So this one I'm not sure I saw, but and where there was a major presence by Snoop Dogg and his bestie Martha Stewart too.
What the hell was he doing there?
I don't know. So 4'8". Wow, that's even shorter than I thought. She's quite short. So
man, she's almost half a foot shorter than I am.
Sha'Carri Richardson. There was I don't know if it's a 1,200-meter relay. She takes the last leg of the relay, right? So there's 4 legs, each of which is a different runner. And she's running, and there's a couple other runners that are more or less even with her, and she's about halfway through her leg, and she kind of looks over at the other people and has this look of utter contempt on her face. And then she looks back forward again. Boom! She's fucking gone. She blew everybody else off the track.
I love that. And look, Mark Herman, he knows the
this
answer.
Person, for clarity, this has been talked to death. There's a lot of bad information. I want to get this out, Dan. Sorry for interrupting. This woman is a woman. She was assigned female at birth. She's raised as a woman. She's always been a woman. She's a
woman.
And she's lost to some of the other women who were in the Olympics, not this year because she won gold.
Jesus,
so it's complete bullshit. She might have some kind of genetic condition, but those types of conditions are way more common than people think they are. So,
but that's it. She's a woman, and she's going to fight biologically. She's a woman. She can fight in boxing as a woman. Period.
Well, there's no, this is the danger of where we've put ourselves in this situation, where in at least one U.S. state, I'm not making this up, and at least, I hate to get into this politics stuff on the show, in at least one U.S. state, on the say-so of one parent, the coaches from the opposing team are allowed to inspect the genitalia of female athletes in high school sports. No shit. No shit. They are allowed to inspect high schoolers' genitalia because some parent said that girl looks like a boy.
You know what? That's humiliating.
That's absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I think she's Algerian, yeah.
You know, I was talking about Mark Herman. Mark Herman knew the answer.
Of Simone Biles. Let's drop this topic, please.
Hold on. Simone Biles, 4'8". What is Mark Herman? Illuminati or something? He knows everything.
Well, that makes you and Simone Biles the same height, doesn't it, Dan?
I'm 4'2".
So,
but Jesus, man, Mark Herman, he's Illuminati.
Yeah, well, Mark is a little taller than 5'8" too. So,
yeah, and he probably
than 4'8". Certainly, actually, he's taller than 5'8" too. I could vouch for that.
Jesus Christ, he'll never say, "What the hell is that?"
Mark, that sounds like your phone, Dan, and you've got a really lame ringtone. I might add.
That's my wife. She's in Nova Scotia right now.
Well, yeah, shouldn't you be dealing with that? I don't know.
Hey, who is this guy? Who's
what guy?
Who's this guy?
So Dan is an Ewok. Well, he is slightly. He is at least.
Does he go to?
He is at least 11% less hairy than Ewoks are. So.
Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
2'4".
Look at this guy. He thinks he's funny.
I got a clip from Kai. I think I actually did already, but it's just an amazing.
He's funny.
So, but in any case, who surprised me actually was I was surprised how tall John Butterfield was. John Butterfield was very tall.
Come on, the taller they are, the harder they fall.
Well, okay, but nobody's gonna knock John over. He's such a pleasant fella.
I know. That's why he doesn't look tall. I was at WBC with this guy.
I just said he was very tall.
He's not that tall.
So, in any case, why are you in the dark, Dan? What's going on with that?
I just didn't turn on the lights, man.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Out!
It's all good. It's all good. Well, I believe we have given up totally on the topic this evening, but we did name some interesting historical periods that weren't World War II that we like. So there's that. There is a local Civil War reenactment in the Columbus general area, anyway, that I always wanted to go to and didn't. However, up here, we have the John Brown House, a house that John Brown lived with his family in Northeast Ohio for a couple of years. So I need to visit. John Brown.
The guy who barricaded himself in a shack
and
with some other people.
In Harper's Ferry, yes, when he tried to seize the arsenal.
Hey, I'm Canadian, man. Okay.
That's fair. You're pretty good for a Canadian in this respect. Okay? But yes, that John Brown.
And he was for the free to slave thing, right?
Oh, militantly, yes.
Okay, yeah. So he died.
I gotcha. So John Brown's second wife is buried in the town that HUN 644 New lives in. On the other hand, I am a direct descendant of John Brown.
Who?
So, me.
You.
Yep, me.
Get the hell away from me.
Nope, not kidding.
You're kidding.
I don't look anything like Johnny Cash, though, strangely enough.
You got blood on your hands.
No, not me, but still.
You got blood on your hands, Ardy.
In any case. So, the family legend was always that we were descended from Admiral Nelson, which is bullshit. Nelson had no children. So, yep, Leigh and Stuart were at Harper's Ferry, and they gave the orders. So, they got captured and hung afterwards. Let me put it that way.
John Brown was always hung.
In any event. So.
You know what? Bloody hell.
Mr. Stuka Joe. Joe, thanks for stopping by. That's probably, this must be true.
6'6", Mark Herman.
I believe.
6'6". He would take you down with a look.
I believe that if John Brown had James Brown to listen to, he might have been slightly less high-strung.
Well, I mean, you can't get more high-strung than that, man.
That's fair.
Seriously.
Wasn't Boxlater in one of the North and South mini-series as well? Patrick Swayze was, as I recall. So.
There's something very William Shatner about Bruce Boxleitner.
I'll be honest. I think the only things I've seen Bruce Boxleitner in are Babylon 5, which I watched a lot of, and
love it.
And the Tron movies. They're supposed to be making another one, by the way, but we'll see if that actually happens. That last one was in a cooker for 15 years.
You saw the new one?
The one that came out 5 or 6 years ago, yeah.
And
I liked it. It's not like an amazing movie, but it had some really cool sequences in it. The Daft Punk did the music, which was great. So,
never liked Daft Punk.
I never got into this show. I vaguely do remember it. This and what was that? Ah, damn it! So a number of those shows that were shows that like I wanted to watch at the time, but have no interest in now, and never watched them at the time. The I'm trying to remember what the other one was, with like the two brothers who were like private detectives and they like lived on a houseboat or something like that. I forget what it was. Hey, year? I'm old. What can I say? What were you saying, Dan?
What year are you talking about? Because I could.
This would have been in like the 80s.
Oh man.
Maybe even the 70s, but probably the 80s. Simon and Simon. I think that was the show we're talking about. Yes, but Gods of Generals is terrible, as is Bruce Boxleitner's fake facial hair in Gods and Generals. It's an absolute travesty, even by the standards of the earlier the first movie, which has some fairly bad fake facial hair.
You know, Bruce Boxleitner, he's thespian, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, hey, I like Bruce Boxleitner, but it's on the basis of Babylon 5 alone.
Yeah.
So,
I really got into the chick, the alien he was having an affair with, Delenn.
Oh, yeah, she's passed away. She was the actress. Really? Mira Furlan was later. I met Mira Furlan at a convention one time, by the way. She passed away a few years ago. She was also on Lost, by the way.
Okay.
So she played a French lady on Lost.
Was she a pretty woman?
Well, sure.
Did she look like an alien?
Not particularly, no. She was, I believe, Serbian or Croatian and had to flee her homeland when it blew up. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think it was at Origins, actually. I think that's absolutely right. Is that, speaking of Magnum P.I., is that new Magnum P.I. still on? Because that looked bad.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
on,
that
Tom
looked
Selleck,
bad.
Man. Tom Selleck.
Ooh, this is ringing a vague bell, I'm afraid. We're into deep cuts for old people here now at this point. I will say that I thought Robert Duvall was a good choice to play Lee, and what's his name was a pretty good choice to play Jackson, even though he had already played Pickett in Gettysburg. but the movie sucks. It's just a shitty movie.
Oh, man.
There's a YouTube, like an hour-long YouTube documentary on why it's a shitty movie, from basically every angle, from cinematography to acting to script screenwriting to historical accuracy. It's just trash. Stephen Lang is the guy I'm talking about. I was introduced to him really via Avatar, though, I think, even though I had seen him in other stuff. I mean, he's in Tombstone. He plays Ike Clanton in Tombstone.
Hey, Ardy, Civil War movies. Is there a Civil War movie worthy of a Napoleonic movie that was made that was extraordinary? For the movie with Waterloo, what's his name?
Rod Steiger?
Yeah. Did they make a Civil War movie equivalent to that?
Yeah, Gettysburg.
Really?
I think it's pretty. I think Gettysburg is a considerably better film than, just from the film standpoint. I think it's a better film than Waterloo.
It's too tight. It's too tight.
Well, they left out a lot, but it's a huge battle. It takes place over 3 days. I mean, you're not going to get everything in there, but they didn't in Waterloo either. At least they didn't have Rod Steiger leading the French cavalry. So there's that. Field of Lost Shoes. I haven't seen that. Glory is a really good movie, frankly.
With what's his face?
Matthew Broderick, unfortunately,
I played racquetball with that guy.
Personally, did you hit him in the face with the ball?
No, he beat the shit out of me.
I can't stand Matthew Broderick. I think he's a fucking terrible actor who has never been good in anything except for Ferris Bueller.
3 games to none.
Yeah, maybe. And Morgan Freeman's in it. Denzel Washington's in Glory as well. It's a terrific film. Much better film than Gods and Generals.
Overtime, eh? You're not paying me overtime, Ardy.
We're 1 minute over. All right, folks, we are out of time. Dan has some important government produce to consume, and I've got stuff to go do as well. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We haven't quite nailed down next week's guest yet, but we're close to it. Unless somebody has emailed me since we started the show, which is not impossible.
It's all organic.
But we will have. It's organic as fuck. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and we'll see you all again soon.
God damn, where's my goddamn?